Hello students. So in the previous video we have learnt about naming of atoms. Now we look towards the atomic mass. We know that matter has got mass and it occupies space. So also atom, which is the smallest particle that we have learned of matter, it also has got mass. We learn what is atomic mass and how much is it in this video. So atomic mass refers to the mass of an atom. Okay, and what exactly is it? It depicts how many times an atom of an element is heavier than 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon. Okay, so whenever we look at an atomic mass, we actually look to compare it with 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon. Remember, carbon has got mass of 12 grams. So we look to compare it with 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon. That is how we look to measure the atomic mass of any element. So it's a relative quantity that we look to measure. The relative atomic masses of all elements have been established with reference to an atom of carbon. Carbon 12, it's saying because the mass of carbon atom is 12 grams. How is it measured? So it's unit. Unit is atomic mass unit, or in short AMU. So once again, 1/12 of the mass of one atom of carbon is termed as the relative atomic mass. It does not possess a unit. So it is a relative quantity, as I mentioned, and hence we give it a term as just atomic mass unit. Continuing, mathematically speaking, how do we calculate it? Mass of one atom of an element is equal to atomic mass into 1/12 of the mass of one atom of carbon, or atomic mass equal to mass of one atom of an element upon 1/12 of the mass of one atom of carbon. That's how you calculate the mass of an atom of any element. Okay, now this is how they do it, but for us at this level we can do it very easily. It is actually an approximate, not 100% accurate, but very close to that accuracy. But if we calculate this thing, if we know the uh, proton and the neutron of an atom, then we can calculate the atomic mass of an atom. For example, the proton number, or the number of protons in an oxygen atom, is 8, and the number of neutron in an oxygen atom are 8. So 8 plus 8 is 16, and hence we get the atomic mass of oxygen as 16. Now any atom has got protons, neutrons and electrons. Protons and neutrons are positive, actually neutrons are neutral charge, protons are positive charge, and electrons are negative charge. So we do, in calculation of atomic mass, we do not take into account the number of electrons and atom possesses or not. What we take into account is the number of protons and neutrons that may be present within a nucleus of a atom. Okay, so we add up the two and we will get the atomic mass of that particular atom of that element. Molecules. We've discussed molecules briefly when we started off, that when atoms comes together they form a molecule, just like how uh, cells, when they come together, they form tissues. So that is the reason why cells are referred to as building blocks of um, animal kingdom, or not just animal kingdom but of the living organisms, that includes even plants. and atoms are considered as building blocks in the physics world, you can say, in the universe. Okay, because the atoms come together to form a wide range of molecules. So cluster of two or more atoms chemically bonded together and tightly held together by attractive forces. So two atoms can come together and be held together to form a stable molecule or compound only if the attractive forces are very high. That means they are very much, it should be like lock and key, such that you cannot separate them out very easily, and naturally they should come together. Like for example, two hydrogen atoms come together with one atom of oxygen very naturally in nature, as a result of which we get water. It is extremely difficult to separate a molecule of water. That means it's difficult to separate the hydrogen atoms from oxygen atoms. uh, Not impossible, but but extremely difficult, and it is energy intensive process to do so, because naturally they have a tendency to come together to form that molecule that we call as water. So molecules can be defined as the tiniest particle of an element or compound, proficient of an independent existence, and shows all properties of that substance. Okay, so this is the technical definition of a molecule. In small terms, when atoms come together, they form molecules. Molecules hold properties of both individual atoms that came together. Those atoms can be of the same element, or the atoms can be of different elements that come together. For example, in case of water, the atoms are coming from oxygen and hydrogen. In case of carbon dioxide, the atoms come from carbon as well as oxygen. Individually by itself, oxygen will be present as a molecule rather than an element, so as O2. So here in this case it just remains by itself, but two oxygen atoms are always naturally present together. Coming to a term called as atomicity. What is atomicity? The number of atoms present in a single molecule is termed as its atomicity, and based on this concept, atomicity can be divided is divided for you under four main categories or four main heads, which is monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic, and tetraatomic. So we'll see what is monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic, and tetraatomic with an example each. So this will, when we go through individually each one of them, it will help us to understand what exactly do we mean by atomicity. Okay, remember the definition. It is the number of atoms present in a single molecule that is termed as atomicity. Let's check it out. Monoatomic molecule. What is a monoatomic molecule? Molecules of many elements are composed or combined of only single atom of that element. They are termed as monoatomic. For instance, here is the example: argon, helium. So the atomicity is 1, which means they will tend to be as elements. They will never tend to be in association with any other atom. Okay, so argon, helium, these are part actually of noble gases. So they tend to be all by themselves. They do not form molecules. So when the single atom is present by itself, then it is called as a monoatomic molecule. Mono means single, one. Okay, so monoatomic means single atom molecule. Okay, that's how an argon molecule will be all by itself. Then we come to a diatomic molecule. In case of di means two. Okay, so diatomic molecule, that means there will be two atoms of that particular element that may be present. So for instance, oxygen can never exist independently and always exists as O2 molecule, known as diatomic. So its atomicity is 2. So as I said, oxygen will never be by itself, it will always be present with another oxygen atom, so it will always be O2, and because it is O2 we refer to it as a diatomic molecule. Di meaning 2, so 2 atom molecule, that is what it means. And this is how it would look like. This is just a rough representation of how a diatomic molecule looks like, and not necessarily oxygen molecule, but a diatomic molecule will be like this. And this two rods that you can see between the two, like these look like dumbbells. These two rods are actually the attractive forces between the two, a bond between the two. Okay, a bond formed between the two. We will learn later on how a bond is actually formed. In fact, we learn a great deal about it in class 10. But bond formation is possible only when there is something to give and something to take, and we don't quite learn about this more in class 9, but more about it in class 10. Anyways, we'll do cover up a part of it as we move along for better understanding. Triatomic molecule. What is a triatomic molecule? So tri means 3. So 3 atom molecule, which means there are 3 composed of 3 atoms of that particular element. Example of this would be O3. So I had just said that oxygen doesn't exist by itself, but always in association with another oxygen atom to form a diatomic molecule. But in some instances it also forms an O3 molecule, and an O3 molecule is actually ozone gas, which is present in the upper reaches of the atmosphere. Okay, so there it is, an O3. It is actually a poisonous gas, but it helps protect the earth from harmful UV radiations of the sun. Then we have CO2. So it is always present together like this. So CO2. Other one that we may also say would be H2O, always present. So 2 atoms of hydrogen with 1 atom of oxygen. So here it is 1 atom of carbon with 2 atoms of oxygen. So hence the total number of atoms is 3. So their atomicity is 3. So this is how it would look like. This would be a representation of a ozone molecule. You see all 3 red balls which symbolize 3 oxygen molecules. In this case, you see 2 red balls that would symbolize the oxygen molecules. The one in gray in between would represent the carbon molecule. So as we see in carbon dioxide, there's 1 atom of carbon and 2 atoms of oxygen that are that actually combine with the carbon molecule to form carbon dioxide. In both the cases, there are 3 atoms. Sorry, there are 3 atoms. Hence, their atomicity is 3. Then you have a tetraatomic molecule. See, what is a tetraatomic molecule? Tetra means 4. We have a tetra pack. Tetra pack, the reason why it's called tetra pack is because it's a 4-sided pack. So similarly, you have a tetraatomic molecule, which means 4 atom molecule, which means there are composed of 4 atoms of that atom, of that element. You see over here in the case of phosphorus, wherein you have 4 atoms. It is made up of 4 atoms. Okay, and you have sulfur trioxide, which is having 3 atoms of oxygen and 1 atom of sulfur. So in total, how many atoms are present in this molecule? 4 atoms. Hence the atomicity is 4. See, in atomicity we are looking only at the number of atoms that are present within that molecule of sulfur trioxide. So this is how sulfur trioxide will look like. These red balls represent the 3 oxygen atoms, and this yellow ball in between represents sulfur. So that's all in this video, because we will next move on to molecules, and then we'll look at how ions are formed, what are ions, and we'll also look at valency and so forth. So I hope you have liked the video. Please click the like button if you have liked the video. Share it with your friends and classmates. Please subscribe to the channel and do not forget to click on the bell icon. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.